Leader Schumer, thanks for joining us. So let's talk about where negotiations stand right now. President Trump told reporters that he's talking with Democrats and that, quote, I know what they want, I know what they can live with, unquote. Are you willing to accept anything less than the White House agreeing to all 10 of your demands to rein in ICE and fire Secretary Noem, or is it all or nothing?
Look, the bottom line is we have three basic objectives to rein in ICE and end the violence. First, no more of these roving patrols. You can't just go to someone's house, bash in their door without a warrant. You can't indiscriminately grab someone off the streets and arrest them. What we're proposing is that stop. We're also proposing that ICE agents can't go to certain special places, churches, schools, polling places. We're saying that they should end racial discrimination and not just pick someone up on the basis of what they look like. And we are proposing that the ICE be monitored carefully as well. The second area is accountability. They have to coordinate with local governments. They don't do that now. They just show up in an area that may be perfectly safe and fine. We need a code of use of force. Every police department across the country has one, but you look at the videos here and you see them just beating the daylights out of people. It's not America. And finally, and maybe most important, no secret police. No police department in America doesn't identify themselves, but these guys wear masks. They don't have cameras. We need masks off. We need cameras on, and we need every ICE officer to be identified. Jake, these are common sense proposals. They're supported by the American people. Why won't Republicans go for them? They don't give any good answers. Well, it's something that every police department does across the country, but ICE is rogue, out of control.
Republicans say that there is a standard of force when it comes to ICE and CBP. And they also say, in terms of unmasking, that will expose the ICE agents and CBP agents and their families to doxing and threats to their safety.
Yeah, just look at every police department across the country. They don't walk around in masks. They don't walk around unidentified. Every police department is identified. In New York City, you see the name right on the breastplate, and the police are fine with that. So that makes no sense what they're saying. And all we're asking is that they follow what police departments do across the country. ICE is rogue. The American people, when they have seen these videos, recoil. They say, this is not America. And why aren't Republicans agreeing with that? It makes no sense.
Well, what if they are going after the cartels? I understand with the roving patrols and such that you're talking about, but if in specific targeted instances, if ICE agents are going after criminals, violent criminals, members of the cartels or whatever, and you'll acknowledge that some, maybe a minority, but some of the people being picked up are that, there certainly is an understandable concern about an ICE agent's safety in that instance, no?
Every other police department in America is unmasked. ICE can do the same. This is a rogue force. They're almost trained, it looks like, to be nasty and mean and cruel and go way beyond what ordinary police departments do. So they need to be reined in. They need to stop the violence. And the question that Americans are asking is, why aren't Republicans going along with these common sense proposals? They're not crazy. They're not way out. They're what every police department in America does.
So your fellow Democratic Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who voted against shutting down the government, he pointed out that, quote, this shutdown literally has zero impact on ICE functionality. Democracy demands a way forward to reform ICE without damaging our critical national security agencies, unquote. And it is true that CBP and ICE are fully funded this year, and you're using the funding of other parts of DHS, such as the Coast Guard or TSA, as leverage. And in the meantime, ICE can keep doing whatever it wants to do. So the question would be, how does the shutdown do anything to accomplish the goal of reining in Trump's immigration crackdown if ICE and CBP are not necessarily directly affected?
Well, 2 points. First, we have proposed that the guardrails that will be applied to ICE are applied not just to the present funding, but to the previous funding that was in the big bad bill. That's very important to us. So that will rein in all of the ICE agents, no matter where they're funded. But second, there's a simple answer to this. Republicans, go along with these common sense proposals, and we'll fund the whole DHS bill, the whole Department of Homeland Security bill. Just go along. Again, I cannot repeat enough. These are common sense. Police departments across America use them. We have a rogue agency. Why don't we rein them in? That's what the American people are asking Republicans, and that's why they're going to have to go along with us. And I believe, I believe they'll have no choice but to go along with us because it's so common sense and so much supported by the American people. They're losing support every day by not supporting these common sense proposals. That's a lot of bull. They show no evidence of voter fraud. They show there's so little in the country. And to have ICE agents, these thugs, be by the polling places, that just flies in the face of how democracy works, of how we've had elections for hundreds of years, very successfully. It makes no sense at all. And we will, in our legislation, we say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places. Again, I think most Americans agree. You talk to people at polling places who operate the polling places, they don't want these ICE agents near them and intimidating them.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
Yeah, the voter ID laws that, first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
Earlier this week, you introduced Virginia's law in honor of prominent Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide last year. The law would eliminate the statute of limitations for survivors of sexual abuse so they can sue their abusers. Is there bipartisan support for this legislation? Do you have 60 votes?
The survivors are working very, very hard, and they've been so successful. As you know, because of their good work, Congress voted virtually unanimously. There was only one dissenting vote in the House, none in the Senate, to make the Epstein files public. Now, I have to say that Kristi Noem and all of them, Bondi, are not making them public, and they're derelict in disobeying this law. But the fact that we got Republican support to actually make the files public, and because the survivors were so instrumental in doing that, they're going to work hard to see if we can get some Republican support. I would bet on them.
Leader Schumer, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.